watch this video twice. If mama's watching this, send this to your daughter Sally right now, because you have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is
predicated on taking away from your family. Entrepreneurship is from taking away from everything else.
So stop making excuses. Oh, these millennial kids are so entitled. Oh, these kids didn't have to work as hard as we did. And I believe more than ever that if you're a 49-year-old housewife with 2 kids, because of this phone, you've got more opportunities to create something for yourselves. I'm scared. I'm super scared. I'm scared because I know exactly what happens this month every year for the rest of time, or actually not the rest of time, hopefully this will end soon, but I'm scared. I'm scared because I know that there are so many of you that graduate this month and have no fucking idea what you want to do, and that's okay. Most people don't. You should not be stressed about that. I'm actually not scared about that. I'm scared that you don't realize that you're entering the greatest 5-year window of your life. If you are 22 years old and graduating from college, shit, if you're 22 years old and not graduating from college, if you are 22 years old, you are entering, first of all, some of the greatest years of your life, A, but B, this is the moment. Watch this video twice. If mama's watching this, send this to your daughter Sally right now, because you have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is not the time to try to maximize as much money so you can buy a fat whip. This is the time to realize that you have a 5-year window, and it's 3 for some, it's 8 for others, but this is a 5-year window for you to attack the life that you want to win, not because it's the secret or because the world's so zen, because it's fucking hard as shit out there. As a matter of fact, I'm probably more scared about your naivete to how hard it. Class is easy, right? What you've been doing for the last 16 years is easy. It's a fucking bullshit game. It's structured, it's easy. The world, this thing is hard. However, that contradicts what I'm gonna tell you right now, which is this is the best and easiest 5 years of your life, because this is when you need to attack what you love and what you want to do. Here's why. You don't have all the baggage. You may have college loans, respect, it's hard as shit. You may have the expectations of your parents, mentally hard, fake hard. You may have a lot of other things, but this is exactly when you can live with 4 roommates in a basement and eat fucking fast food. Do you understand? This is not when the baby's there. Some of you have babies. This is not when you've been married and you promised. This is not when the world has sucked out all your dreams and hopes yet. You still got this window. And yet, so many of you are so hungry for short-term gains, like maximizing the job that paid you $3,000 more, but it's not as fun, but you want that $3,000. For what? For what? For a new iPhone? For what? You get to live life one time. And this is the time right now to understand what's actually happening and actually map your behavior to something that will impact you for the next 80 years. So promise me, all you youngsters that are watching this right now, in the fucking comments, because I'll jump in and talk to you, promise me that you understand that the land grab of happiness starts right now, that you don't have to worry about getting that job. What you should do is go and travel and learn. Go and start that business that you've always wanted. Hook up with those 3 teammates and start that band you've always wanted. This is the time to be massively risk oriented. I know that this is when you're supposed to grow up and go see the world, but guess what? The world isn't what mommy and daddy told you. The world is exactly going to be what it's going to be, with or without the way you thought it was gonna be. A ton of shit is gonna change. The world changes every goddamn day. Right now, what you need to recognize is you can afford to. And not all of you, I'm sure somebody will leave a comment and say, I've got a loan. I get it, respect. But that loan is gonna be there whether you go and try to build something for yourself or not, one way or the other. And by the way, you can work at night. This is when you put in the 18 hours a day to make your life that you want happen. And again, because I'm scared, I can hear myself fucking talking. I'm not saying it's the secret, it's practicality. when you are in your early 20s, this is when you can grind at your highest levels because there isn't all the fucking baggage that comes across from life. It's harder for the 42-year-olds that are watching right now to listen to this advice. You can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, let's go. Because little Sally has soccer fucking practice. And because you've got a million other things that are holding you down. But boy, if you're lucky enough to be graduating today with not a fucking idea of what you're gonna do with your future, nobody's ever been luckier than you. Please recognize it.
The Monday rant video was reverse engineered. Like I just knew that people would like want to watch it. And that's what I also think is gonna happen here. Basically, I want this film to give you the audacity to actually go out and do it. You're 52 years old and it's not being talked about enough that, hey man, hey gal, like it's not over. If you want it so bad, if it's in you, like, you know, maybe it's not time to take up golf or, you know, pack it in. Maybe it's time to actually triple down and really focus on your 7 p.m. to 2 in the morning. There's so many people that truly are good entrepreneurs or have entrepreneurial DNA, but they just weren't lucky enough to be born during an era that seemed practical. Like it's just so, like, it's hard for somebody who's for 30 years gone a certain blueprint to understand that this is that realistic and they feel like it's a young man's sport and it's just not. Like, it's just not. It's, you know, if you got the right DNA and you're a 72-year-old female, you have just as good of a bat as a 27-year-old dude. But you've been trained and story told to and positioned and lived in a 50-year matter that doesn't feel like this thing in here is a practical way to build that, but it is. Entrepreneurship is not predicated on taking away from your family. Entrepreneurship is from taking away from everything else. So stop making excuses. Oh, these millennial kids are so entitled. Oh, these kids didn't have to work as hard as we did. Nobody cares if you're 40, 70, 90, alien, female, male, minority. The market will accept your victories if you're good enough to have a victory. And I believe more than ever that if you're a 49-year-old housewife with 2 kids, because of this phone, you've got more opportunities to create something for yourselves. Please, my friends, do not allow just the 18 and 14 and 22-year-olds to grab at this pie that is so available to all of us, regardless of our age. We're gonna live longer. The opportunity is real. For the 58-year-old right now that's watching this, you're gonna live another 40 years. 40 years of being able to do something you love is a big deal. Start putting in the work. Start recognizing this isn't just a young person's game. Start representing the people that actually put in the work, the gray hairs, that context, that knowledge. Start deploying that. Educate yourself on the new world. Yes, you didn't grow up with Instagram. You didn't grow up driving, and you learned that. Stop making excuses. Start getting educated in the actual world and start opening up the opportunities. In my true opinion, you are actually more likely to be successful in building a company at 45, 50 today than the 18-year-olds that are coming out because there's a naivete, a lack of experience. You have experience. You have experience. Like, that's a real thing. Like, cool. Like, youth and excitement is great. You have actual business experience. There's a plenty amount of talent. There's plenty amount of talent. And there's a ton of fire and bravado. And there's a confidence. There's a confidence that youth provides. But the difference between me and so many of you is I've put in the goddamn work to learn where people's attention now is, and I'm deploying myself through there. Many of you have drawn a line in the sand and say, I'm not downloading Snapchat, I'm not downloading Instagram, and that, my friends, is gonna allow you to lose. This video is made for one reason. I want it to be the calling card, the seed of the explosion of the 40 to 80-year-old entrepreneur in our society. The fire I see in the eyes of a 19, 20, 25-year-old that feels that they're entitled to this, and then on the flip side, the diminishing, just a little bit of ashes with a little smoke left of that same entrepreneur when they were 22, at 46, when practicality and family dynamics and the history and the market tearing down and the lack of that same opportunity has just dwindled down to a moment where they don't believe that they've got that shot. And I'm here to tell you, you absolutely do. too. I mean, there are absolutely a ton of entrepreneurs that started their companies in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s when it was difficult to do such a thing. Sidney Frank, who created Grey Goose, didn't invent his big thing until in the 70s. And so I'm desperate to give you the springboard to say, you know what? Instead of watching House of Cards seasons, instead of trying to, go to ball games or things of that nature, I do have 7 p.m. till 2 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Heck, for a lot of you, the kids are out of the house. I mean, let's get into the practicality for the late 40s, 50s, 60-year-olds that are watching this right now. The kids are out of the house. Like, yeah, you could pick up golf, or you could finally start that candle company because you put pretty pictures of candles on Instagram and it happens. Learn the craft. Figure out the opportunity at hand, go attack it. You only live once. When you're 90 to 100 years old and you're regretting that you never built this business and you let this era pass, this moment where there's so much entrepreneurial upside, you'll regret it, and regret is the worst. I mean, that's what it is. At least the way I see it. Like, I got home at midnight last night. And every fucking night. Like, it's just real. Like, just, I don't have to. So, I don't know, I think there's a real opportunity to inspire a generation that so deserves it. Like, I almost feel like that's, being 40, I feel like I'm caught right in the middle. Like, I have so much empathy I recognize how insane I had to be to like, I mean, you can't even imagine how not practical being an entrepreneur was when I was your guys, like when I was half your age. Like in school, like a 15-year-old now in school that's getting D's, but is like selling shit on the internet. Everyone's like, oh, there's you're the next Mark Zuckerberg. And mine was like, yo, you're the next piece of shit. Like it's so insanely different. And so I have a lot of empathy for people that I don't know if they recognize how real it is.